the assassination of Rajiv Gandhi.
He was very careless about his security. He was popular and he wanted to be like that, come closer to people. The Prabhakaran's motive, why he killed Rajiv Gandhi, and his explanation was that when he was brought to Ashoka Hotel, and in Ashoka Hotel he was kept like a captive, and he was brought like someone very, very important for negotiations, but he was not allowed to independently negotiate. And then he went back to Sri Lanka, an extremely disillusioned and unhappy person, full of complaint against Rajiv Gandhi. And he said that Rajiv Gandhi did not treat him the way he should have treated him. And that became the motive for this crime.
The Jessica Lal case.
The way Manu Sharma's family, his father and others, they planned the entire escape is mind-boggling. The first judgment was Bottu. The gentleman who was the sessions judge, he gave the verdict acquitting all of them. He became a High Court judge soon after that.
BMW murder case.
R.K. Anand and Mr. Khan, the court or the judges got influenced by the lawyers. If they had not been influenced by the lawyers, they would not have examined him.
What happened to the BMW? वो truck कैसे बन गया?
The main witness who got injured, when he was examined, he suddenly tells that it was a truck. He converts the BMW into a truck. Obviously, he was paid.
When you hear about Indira Gandhi's assassination,
I thought that it was an insider's job. Something came to my mind without any background. Indira Gandhi was a very towering personality, and then her getting away from situation in these circumstances had certain kind of effect on everything, and that effect was devastating. I had half a dozen very crucial officers who were sick. I did not allow my sick officers to leave the place. I said, if you leave today, you can't come back tomorrow.
Bhindranwale comes to Delhi and a lot of weapons are found.
He decided to come to Tihar jail because in Tihar jail there were a lot of people who were there. Some politicians were there and he wanted to meet them.
ऐसे open weapons के साथ वो अंदर जा सकता है?
क्या कर सकता था उस जमाने में, बड़ा मुश्किल है ये बताना.
This episode is powered by easemytrip.com. Namaste, Jai Hind. You're watching or listening to another edition of the ANI podcast with Smita Prakash. If you're the kind of person who likes to read about crime and punishment, my next conversation is going to be of interest to you. If you've lived in Delhi in the 80s, 90s or 2000s, you would remember the Jessica Lal case. You would remember the BMW case. My guest is somebody who knows about these cases. If you've lived in Delhi in the 80s and in the 90s, you would remember the riots that took place in Delhi after Indira Gandhi's assassination. You would remember the chaos that happened after Rajiv Gandhi was assassinated and the investigation that went into Rajiv Gandhi's assassination. My guest knows all about that. My guest is Amod Kanth, former Indian Police Service officer. Mr. Kanth has received President Police Medals and Gallantry Award and has held several important positions, including Director General of Police of Goa and Arunachal Pradesh. He's also a social activist, best known as the founder of the NGO Prayas, a children's rights advocate, and the chairperson of the Delhi Commission for Protection of Child Rights. Thank you, sir, for coming on the podcast. It's great to have you here. I want to take you back to all the cases that you've done, but I think one show mein kafi nahi hoga. Lekin, it's like there's a Chinese proverb, you must have heard of it, may you live in interesting times. Log kehte hain ki wo curse hai, but you've lived in a very crucial, or your work life in the police service has been, in such a tumultuous phase of this country. And you were in Delhi at that phase. So when you read these two books, and I suggest to anybody who likes to read Crime and Punishment, Crime and Justice, do pick up these two books. And if you're a Delhiite pehle baat to, and you've lived in the 80s, 90s, 2000s, फिर तो ये दोनों किताबें आपको ज़रूर पढ़नी चाहिए. These are also cases, and I was just telling sir कि it's a difficult read because it literally it makes you relive parts of your life which you just want to put एक ठंडे बक्से में and keep it aside. You don't want to live through that. I don't know as a policeman how you feel about it, but some of these are too close for comfort. Some of us who were journalists have reported on this, so these are difficult stories to tell and to read about. So I think fellow journalists also, I feel that they should watch this conversation. So let me go back to some of the cases that you handled. And one of the cases which is very significant is the Jessica Lal case. You were Joint Commissioner of Police, Southern Range, when that murder happened in the Qutub Colonnade. And it was on 30th April 1999. Tell us about that. What happened? When did you hear about it? I read it, but I want you to tell me, what did you feel about that? I mean, we read it in the morning in
That's
the
correct.
newspapers. And I believe some of the people who were at the party also read it or heard about it on television in the morning. So when you got that call, what were you doing? What was your thought first?
Smita, first of all, you correctly said that these two books, I haven't completed my story of police so far.
Yeah.
And much bigger story of my life outside police is yet to start being written. But then yes, these 2-3 decades were very important decades. I would say that Khaki Industry Storm is the story of India's most tumultuous decade, 1980s.
Yeah.
I think in the past 50 years, no other decade has been so difficult, has been so violent, has been so much into all kinds of activities which really kept everybody on tenterhooks as this decade, about which I wrote my life experience. That is one part of it.
This one we'll come to in the second half of the conversation.
Okay, the first, the Khaki Industry
Even I'm
Storm.
going the other way around.
That's fine, perfectly all right. Mind is there and everything is there in my mind.
Ji.
I'll talk about it,
Haan ji.
whatever you want. And Khaki on Broken Wings, this book is more about India's criminal justice system. Let's say in the context of 4 very powerful cases and personalities. That is Jessica Lal case you talked about. I'll speak about it later. And then, of course, we can go on about it. BMW case, Sanjeev Nanda's case, that was another very difficult case, very interesting case, which brought a lot of changes. And it put the legal system upside down.
And media.
And media. Media was very, very importantly in that case.
Yeah.
And Charles Sobraj case, everybody talks about it. You know, Charles Sobraj was perhaps one of the most notorious and one of the most kind of talked about criminals globally speaking. And a character called Romesh Sharma, if you recall this name, he was also there. So these 4 cases actually took me through India's criminal justice system so intimately and in such kind of situations which is very difficult to define. And I'll talk about the changes in law subsequently. I'm sure you'll talk about it. Coming back to Jessica Lal case, very interesting indeed. Morning I recall, that morning, the night before, about 2 o'clock, 2:30, Jessica Lal was killed. And then in the morning, I received 3 phone calls about which I have talked in my book.
It's an age where there's no mobile phone.
That's correct.
Landline.
Exactly. And Satyamarg, I was there. I get call early in the morning. You know, in Delhi police, other police forces also, the SHOs report to their seniors, they report to their SP or Deputy Commissioner of Police, and then upwards. So I was, that time, I was very much there as a Joint Commissioner of Police. So several districts reported to me. I looked after half of Delhi. And that was the happening half of Delhi.
South Delhi.
So in the morning, South Delhi, that's correct. So in the morning, I got 2 husky voices. Extremely husky voices, very sexy voices, I must say, both of them. One was Steven Seagal, the famous Hollywood star, you know, tall fellow, 6 feet 5 inches or something, who had come to Prayas a couple of days back before this incident. And he happened to be in the same place where Jessica was killed.
Qutub.
And the other husky voice was my batchmate Y.S. Dadwal, who is no more. And Dadwal was my batchmate. He also happened to be there the previous night, and a lot of stories came about him also.
Yeah.
These are 2 cases, 2 characters who spoke to me in the morning. And the third one was my additional Deputy Commissioner of Police, who reported the crime to me as usual.
How did Steven Seagal get your number?
Well, what happened that he had my
because
contact.
He had come to Prayas.
That's correct. He had come to Prayas, and he created such a beautiful scene in Prayas because he came to one of my homes which was full of small children, and then he was a towering personality, and these kids, you know, they sat all over him, on his shoulders, on his laps and all over, and he really enjoyed it. So it was a different kind of situation.
But ये तो कुछ और ही phone कर रहे थे.
ये कुछ और ही था. Morning में अचानक call आता है. I couldn't understand that it was he who is calling, because why should he call me? You understand that, but he did. And Dadwal, whom I called Dadu because of being batchmate, he says ki, boss, I was there for some time last night and all that, and something happened, I believe. So this story came, and then I went to scene of crime soon after that. That was very important.
In that I'm sorry to interrupt, but आपकी किताब में, this is a very interesting part which I found when you talk about that there were bureaucrats and police officers in that party of the Ramanis in Qutub Colonnade, and you write the bureaucrats apparently came because they wanted a change from the stuffy environment of Gymkhana Club. I had such a laugh, sir, because it is so typical. It is so typical that these police officers, I'm sorry, you're a police
please,
officer, but I'm
on.
saying this, that bureaucrats who have membership to the most elite club of Delhi, which is Gymkhana, but they find it too stuffy. So they go to Qutub Colonnade, and their bad luck कि वहाँ पहुँचते हैं and उस दिन एक मर्डर हुआ, और वो उस मर्डर को वो डिफाइन करता है उनके करियर को अब. डडवाल साहब, I think it defined him then.
See, I think all these law enforcement characters in bureaucracy and police, for them it was a change to go such a lawless joint. It was a lawless joint in the sense that
they didn't have the legal.
They had no license for the liquor. They had no exact license for whatever they were doing. And let me inform you, perhaps others will understand more easily. See, it was a Thursday party. And as you know, Bina Ramani and her daughter Manli, they are past master in creating these situations. Hoj Khas village was partly created by Bina Ramani. So she was a known socialite, and her daughter Manli was also a smart girl. And they wanted to do some business because this damn place was not doing too well. I mean,
Qutub Colonnade.
It was not doing well in the sense that they required some new business kind
पर
of.
परमिट्स नहीं थे उनके पास.
परमिट्स के अलावा ये था कि ये जगह उतनी पॉपुलर, बहुत करीब, कुतुब के एकदम बगल में, ये भी एक बड़ा स्ट्रॉन्ग पॉइंट हुआ.
कैसे उन्हें परमिशन मिला?
क्यों परमिशन मिला? एंड द टॉप पीपल इन द गवर्नमेंट, दे अलाउड दीज पीपल. लेकिन ये था कि एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम इट वाज नॉट डूइंग टू वेल, सो दे गॉट द आइडिया ऑफ थर्सडे पार्टीज. नाउ थिंक ऑफ थर्सडे. सी, फ्रॉम मंडे टू फ्राइडे, व्हाई थर्सडे? बिकॉज दैट इज द आइडिया they thought of, that Thursday people become a little, again, they're tired of the routine, and then they want a change, a break in the middle of the week, and Thursday is the right day. So they decided to have some kind of Thursday parties where they started with hardly 5-6 people. And mind you, it was 9th Thursday party, and during that 9th Thursday party, it became so popular that nearly 400 people came that night, that evening, and it was talk of the town. Anyone around who wanted a kick, who wanted a change, who wanted different kind of experience, as you mentioned, they all came to Thursday party. And I don't wish to name everyone here. Top doctors, top socialites who were there, lot of government officials, and all those people. And after all,
so then in various reports of media reports say that those who were present, and some of them are mentioned in your book too, Rohit Bal, Reena Dhaka, Tarun Tehliani, they were questioned too. Rohit Bal, in fact, I think called the ambulance or whatever, or called Natasha Nanda of Escorts, Neeraj Kanwar of Apollo Tyres, Jay Wadia, son of Bombay Dyeing's Nasli Wadia. Then there was Hollywood actor Steven Seagal, as you mentioned, former Minister Kamal Nath's son Nakul. There was policeman in the form of Joint Commissioner Dadwal, as we mentioned. And there was Manu Sharma, the 24-year-old son of Union Minister.
Dr. Naresh Trehan was also there. He came for some time.
And there was in your book, as you mentioned, Hari Bhartiya, Dr. Naresh Trehan, who says that he came for a short while and then he got bored or whatever, and crowded or something, and he leaves. Nakul Nath, Meena Alag, Bindu Vadera, Hanut Singh the jeweler, all these people were there. There were 300 people.
That's correct.
Out there, and there was, of course, Vinod Sharma. Then he becomes Vashisht or something like Siddharth.
His name was Siddharth Vashisht.
Siddharth Vashisht. And then there was Vikas Yadav, son of Rajya Sabha member DP Yadav. And there is a list of who's who were there. Or nobody. It's not necessary that they were all known to Malini Ramani or Bina Ramani. They were friends.
That's correct.
And those who heard of it and landed up out there and things. And without alcohol license, alcohol was being served.
That's correct. No, I mean, it wasn't meant for this kind of party at all. And no permissions were there for this kind of activity which was going on. So all these people, they came through word of mouth. Even Manu Sharma and Vikas Yadav, we asked them how did they arrive. Then they say it was talk of the town. Everybody knew. And as you know that Manu was not only son of Sharma, a very big, very important politician of Haryana.
At that time, Congress party.
And they were very rich businessmen. They had sugar factories and all. Even today, let me inform you, his post coming out of the jail. So they are the kind of people, who kept on pouring into that place. And it was like a climax. It was real climax on that particular night when these guys were there. Not that everybody was there. Let me inform you. Our investigation, as it happens, I'll go back to that. Our investigation started right in the morning because, as I mentioned to you, that one of our home guards, who was asked to keep a watch on the vehicles coming and going. A few vehicles were lying there after everybody had left, and one main vehicle was Manu Sharma's vehicle, which because Manu Sharma left the vehicle there. And he ran on foot. And subsequently, he took various things. He concealed his weapon also nearby, as you know, in the Mehrauli area. And for some time, I believe that he went on the hand cart and then finally took something else and he reached his home. So his vehicle was there and his vehicle could be the starting point of investigation. So these guys, Vikas Yadav, and they came, not Manu Sharma, they came to pick up the vehicle. And this is smart head constable smart home guard of Delhi police. He was very smart. He kept a watch. He hit the windshield of the vehicle and it broke down. It broke and he could remember the number also. So by the time, we arrived at the spot and the information came, this number was with us. And by pure chance, Kiran Bedi, who happens to be my senior colleague in my cadre, Kiran that time was for a very short while IG of Chandigarh. So I spoke to Kiran personally. I told her the number of the vehicle and the vehicle was tracked. I mean, we learnt within how many hours? Within hardly 10-15 hours that the person whose vehicle was there is Manu Sharma and most likely he is the person who killed Jessica Lal.
So by the time you reached in the morning, you reached the location. You reached at what time?
Morning 8:30, 9
o'clock. By that
time,
all evidence, blood had all been wiped out and everything had been cleaned, right?
See what happened that when Jessica was shot at and she fell down. When she fell down in the room, there were a couple of people. Beena and Malini were there. Beena's husband, who was supposed to fly out the next day, as you know, he could not do it. He was going around the world trip he was supposed to take. So they were there. So that time, the body had to be, she had to be picked up and removed. Somebody told कि इसको clean कर दो. Somebody said. I don't think it was Beena Ramani who said that इसको साफ कर दो. So it just happened. I will not say that anybody was trying to clean, and cleaning the blood actually doesn't mean anything, frankly. In the larger scheme of investigation, trial and evidence as it unfolds or as it is produced in the court, it did not have much of value. The circumstantial evidence were plenty to inform or perhaps to place on record how it happened, and all those things were very different. So by the time we were there, yes, the place was cleaned and we had not been able to recover one of the pellets, the empties as we call it. 2-3 empties were lying there on the spot and that was recovered. So scene of crime was actually not disturbed as such. I don't really give much of importance to it.
Okay.
Far more important was those people who were eyewitnesses. And it is fact that they were heavily influenced and heavily kind of coerced by the people who were in power that time. But then Beena and Malini and her husband, Beena's husband, I think all of them were able to say the major part, a substantial part of the information. Because what happened? While this incident took place, and then, as you know, that he demanded alcohol. And that time, Jessica said that there is no alcohol. Then he said that for a sip, I'll pay 1,000.
The word sip also.
That's correct. That also came, and as if sip from the mouth kind of thing, he said it. And his friends, they were there on that
And he
spot.
was drunk.
He was totally drunk. He was really drunk. And then that was the situation. And then Shayan Munshi, who was a small-time actor and who was with Jessica. And as you know, both were bartenders.
Yeah.
And of course, what Shayan did was something horrifying. I mean, he was a nasty character, let me tell you very frankly, because he did not support the case at all. While they were together like twins in that situation.
Okay. It was, how was the bar shaped? Like, was it a horseshoe?
Yes.
मतलब ये दोनों पास में थे दोनों.
वो दोनों बार के पीछे थे.
सिर्फ ये दोनों.
हाँ, बार के पीछे थे और बार का the items had been over finished. There was nothing much left in it.
Actually, she couldn't even give, right? Unless वो कूपन देते हैं, तब तक वो ड्रिंक्स नहीं दे सकती थी. कुछ ऐसे था ना?
नहीं, drink was not there. Drink was not there. Drink was not there, but they were having a little drink.
Okay.
They were having, that is how this sip and all that stuff came. So drink was not there. It was about 2 o'clock. So by then it was
Party
being
was
cleaned.
wrapping
Party
up.
was over, as it was a typical scene of a late night party being over.
Okay.
And this fellow demanded drink. So that was the trigger point on which he shot her. And he was drunk. Obviously he was drunk. And his friends were hanging around. So that is what situation was.
So Shayan Munshi, did he try to pick her up, stop? कुछ नहीं कर पाया.
शयान मुंशी ने कहा, he said it. ऐसा नहीं, शयान मुंशी के स्टेटमेंट पे तो हमने एफआईआर लॉन्च किया.
हाँ, correct.
He was taken, Shayan Munshi, we took him to this place, the other hospital, which is next to my home incidentally. So Shayan Munshi's statement was that time truthful. There was no issue at all. He spoke whatever he saw. Now what happened that then Bina Ramani came and she tried to stop him and he was running away. She followed him. She followed him, Manu Sharma, till the gate and he escaped. So she tried and he was carrying the weapon. The weapon was in his hand. So that way, I would say that Bina acted brave from that point of view.
She caught him by the collar or something and
She
asked
tried
him
to physically stop him also. She tried to physically stop. He did not stop. He got scared also that time and then he escaped. So this entire situation was captured very well by us. And statements made by the people about this entire situation was perfectly in place.
We must remind people that this is an era before CCTV.
That's correct.
Na andar CCTV, na bahar CCTV.
That's correct.
Na sadko pe CCTV to see this man running away, getting on the cart, uski gaadiyan, those who left from the scene, kuch nahi. No CCTV at all in those days.
Exactly. That's a very important point in those times. What we wanted and what was required to be done, I mean, typical of CBI, where I served for 4 years, we get into small pieces of evidence. That's the beauty of that organization, which is really a good organization from investigation point of view. We wanted to connect his entire movement, which was known to some people, and they did not want to admit. Where the problem arises, there are 2-3 things. Number one, that some people saw him, they met him because he was there for a long time. They did not depose. They deposed that time properly, some of them. Many did not depose properly. Then the so-called eyewitnesses who came in contact with him, they deposed and they turned hostile ultimately. And most importantly, the entire theory of 2 weapons, you understand that 2-weapon theory was done. And it was supported negatively by the ballistic report. And the ballistic report came from CBI Central Forensic Science Lab. Which is very bad. And we found one of the leading ballistic experts of the country to be compromised. It appeared and I think it was correct. So all these things you divide in 3 parts. That is, those people who were there in the night and they came across these characters, they should have deposed properly. Those people who were eyewitnesses, eyewitness means they contacted, they saw him running, saw him killing, or saw him being there, all that stuff. That is second. And those who were circumstantial witnesses and technical witnesses, and they got compromised. You understand? All these things are very important. 35 witnesses turned hostile. It must be the only case, perhaps such talked about case where 35 witnesses, they turned hostile. They were declared hostile by us in the court of law. And the cases still are going on. Shayan Munshi is definitely one of the most prominent ones who turned hostile. And it included important people, surprisingly. So the entire criminal justice system went to winds, so far as Jessica Lal case is concerned, and that's the saddest part of the story. Another very important thing which is for viewers to understand, that although these witnesses turned hostile, based on circumstantial evidence which were there in plenty with us, the Sessions Court let him go. I mean, Manu Sharma was let off, as you know. And based on the same evidence, I give all credit to Justice R.S. Sodhi, who finally decided the case in our favour, High Court of Delhi, and he was convicted. There, he relied upon those part of evidence which were substantially establishing this case. And the remaining part of evidence which they lied, he rejected, which doesn't happen. So a new trend started from that point of view. And the case came in our favour ultimately.
But what was this collective amnesia jo hua tha of these eyewitnesses who just became all silent about the bureaucrats and the police people who were there and about the important people? What was this omerta code कि हम एक दूसरे के बारे में बताएंगे नहीं? ये क्या तरीका था?
That speaks volumes about Delhi's or perhaps metropolitan cities so-called
elite
socialites. I think that is what the hollowness of these cities, these characters, who is who, that comes in the open. This case, perhaps one of the lasting things is, number one, that yes, there was a big demand for justice. As you know, Barkha came out and others came out and they started off a kind of campaign, which is good. Although campaign doesn't result in any kind of conviction. The conviction was based on the same evidence which we collected. But then yes, that kind of interest of the people, and nationally something happened, you understand. And nationally these people were exposed also. They were exposed because of their hollowness of their personality. What kind of people are they? Such important people in the society, they should have come out very clearly what they saw and what happened to on that night. But they didn't want. They want to shy away.
Were you shocked at that time that such important... Those were faces that we were seeing every day on page 3.
That's correct.
I think page 3 culture got a big hit with the Jessica Lal case. Thoda bahut to kam hua. But these were supposedly the big names of society at that stage. What was going on in your mind? That why are they not talking? Why are they not telling what they actually saw? Were they scared? What was the political pressure on them?
Yes, the political pressure, not political I would say, but the pressure of one particular family or two particular families. For example, DP Yadav and Vikas Yadav. I was sitting in my office and in police headquarters, and suddenly Vikas Yadav appears along with his father, and the entire media is there that time. And he had obtained a bail from Northeast, some remote court in the Northeast of India. He got a bail and he came and surrendered himself. You understand? And his father, of course, is hanging around. The way his family, I mean Manu Sharma's family, his father and others, they planned the entire escape is mind-boggling. And a lot of very important people in that escape scene also, let me inform you, besides on the spot, when he was trying to escape, and meanwhile, the main person to whom they had handed over the weapon, you know the story of the
but tell it. It's there in the book, but still.
Weapon was given to a gentleman who had come from USA, and the uncle of Manu Sharma, brother of Vinod Sharma, who was of course the son-in-law of one president of India also. And then he and that person was carrying weapon. They connived, and the weapon ultimately, as we understand, was thrown in the river. That's what they say, because the weapon was taken, the person went to Manali and all. But he had to escape. He had to go away from India. And that period they wanted to buy. And for variety of preparations that they wanted to do with regard to concealment of evidence or with regard to kind of harboring the main culprit, his escape in various locations in Punjab and all that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, we were on the chase. Our team was on the chase and we caught him very fast. But that particular period, lot of very important people again came in picture. And then by the time we caught him, the weapon had gone. The person who had kept the weapon, he also went away. So you understand, these things, all these things brought into our investigation fold large number of very, very important people from various walks of life.
Did it shock you at that time?
Very shocking. It was very, very disappointing. It was very shocking, and far more shocking was when the trial took place.
Yeah.
And during the trial, whatever they had said, they resiled from all those statements. That was still more shocking. That how could they do it? How could they just resile all? And
then the police looks like a fool.
Well, I mean,
at that time, because you all came under a lot of criticism that you didn't have enough proof. But what had actually happened was that people who had seen it said something, went back on their words, and they turned hostile.
I made a statement at a very crucial time. It was open and shut case. I said it about this case.
Yeah.
I said the same thing about BMW case also, which
yeah.
is a fact. Because we worked out the case straight away. I said within hours.
BMW.
We'll
get to that.
That case also, as
we'll
you know.
We'll get to that later, sir. Pehle Jessica Lal
So in this case, when the fellows are identified in a matter of hours, and witnesses are known, list is there, everything is there. So all those things put together, it should have been a very clear, clean case. Had it been an ordinary restaurant or hotel where the crime took place, probably things would have been much easier.
Yeah.
But then here, because of the characters and their weird behavior, that is what was very shocking. And how could they speak white lies in the court of law? Or maybe they were told to do so. And let me inform you, one point which I have written in my book, which is very different. I mean, about a particular person who was made to look like a hero. And that person conduct was very wrong. I think, I hope you understand what I am talking about.
Yeah.
And because
you don't want to name.
The transaction took place within the family. The father of Manu Sharma, he went to the home of Jessica Lal, and Jessica Lal's father was a very nice person. He was very unhappy about the entire thing. And then money was transferred, and the money was transferred to the eyewitness, and the eyewitness turned a total alcoholic. We could not do anything because he was being fed so much of money, he was being kind of made a drunkard, and then ultimately he went totally awry. In fact, one of them died also while drinking.
Yeah.
So these are the kind of things which doesn't come in the open. People don't understand what all can happen. So Jessica Lal case, from that point of view, more than an investigation which could be very clean and simple, it was a narrative on the society. It was something which exposed society in many ways.
What about when the admission happens, when Manu Sharma admits and that is not viable? The admission.
In this case, surprisingly again, the entire video recording of Manu Sharma, to which I was there, in fact, he was talking to me. Although at the level of Joint Commissioner of Police, these things don't happen, but I'm in the habit of investigating. I used to investigate cases myself. I used to talk to people myself. So I did the same with Manu also. In one of our places.
What was that interaction like? Was he consumed with guilt, or was it matter of fact? I
don't think that he was so much guilt conscious, or he had any serious remorse about whatever happened. ये काफ़ी ठीक ठाक था, और इसने पूरी कहानी बहुत ठीक से बताई. The entire story he narrated very truthfully. Once he was caught and once he was in our custody, we have the system of recording. That video recording was there, and let me inform you that record was kept on the file, on the police, on the trial, during the course of trial, because the case became so controversial.
तो वो क्या कह रहा था? क्यों मारा उसने?
He said something very funny. He said कि हाँ ये सही है कि भाई he was drunk and he was under influence of liquor, and when he demanded, then Jessica was not giving. He had the weapon in his pocket, .22, that weapon he had. And then he said that he saw something, her hair falling here, and he thought that probably I'll disturb his hair or something, very odd kind of thing, and he shot her. And he shot her pointed on the head, you understand. So he was not shooting her on the head, he was shooting probably her hair or something, he was moving. That kind of, he wanted to say that his intention was not to kill. And he was very unhappy, and unhappy means he was very angry with the conduct of Jessica Lal, that point of time.
Arrogance.
And he admits that he was angry, he admits that he was unhappy, and arrogance. And that kind of background that he had, you understand, they are spoiled brats of the big people. And although he was rich and he was part of business, he was a director in the companies floated by his father. But then this is what he was. And the youngsters in that age, what they could do, how could they think, what is their psychology, it is some kind of reflection on that also.
Did he think he would get away with it when he went with Vikas Yadav and the others? Did they think कि बच जाएंगे, or they thought कि पकड़े ही जाएंगे?
He was scared though. I mean, his movement with a lot of people, he was very scared. But then they were quite confident. They were very confident that he will get away. He thought as much.
They almost did.
Yes, and they almost did. I mean, in the Sessions Court, getting a verdict of this type is most unusual in a case like this. They got a verdict, and without getting into minute details of what all I know, what all, let's say, my advocate, late Mr. S.K. Saxena, who was a veteran of CBI, he was a lawyer in this case, a brilliant lawyer for criminal courts. Now, we all know what happened. We all know what happened. What all happened behind the scene. At very, very high levels, this judgment was bought over.
Oh God.
The first judgment was bought over. I mean, one doesn't know how to, in what words, talk about it. That's a fact. The gentleman who was the Sessions judge, I have mentioned about it, he gave the verdict, very crisp verdict, acquitting all of them. And then, of course, he became a High Court judge soon after that.
What do you feel as a policeman at that time when you know कि ये guilty है और ये निकल गया? आपके साथ तो कई बार ये हुआ होगा ऐसे. But this case, when you know the entire scrutiny is on you and on the case, and you feel कि कोर्ट ने तो छुड़वा दिया, अब क्या होगा?
I never lost it out. Let me inform you. See what happened that I was transferred to Arunachal Pradesh.
Arunachal, huh.
I was DG police there. And this case went into wrong hands. Entirely wrong hands. You understand? I mean, the Commissioner of Police who took over used to be Joint Commissioner of Police, who is a big shot, became Governor later.
Yeah.
See, he was Joint Commissioner of Police Crime, I was Joint Commissioner of Police Southern Range. And we had major differences on many cases. Because I remained Joint Commissioner of Police Southern Range of Delhi for 4 years.
This is why I keep saying that our lives have crossed in many ways.
I know, correct.
I'm not going to say how, but anyway.
So somehow all the big cases, very big cases took place during the time I was Joint Commissioner of Police Southern Range. And not following the usual practice, the cases never went to crime branch. And I investigated and supervised those cases, Jessica Lal being one of them. Such cases could have gone to CBI, could have gone to crime branch. It was not transferred to crime branch. So we did this case. So the entire paraphernalia of what's happening, we knew. We were aware that, and as you know that because of media interest and lot of inquiry being by media, they also gave us input, you understand. And I always acknowledge that media at times is far ahead of police.
But they brought that, I mean, because the media put so much scrutiny और फिर वो picture भी निकल आई and things like that, मतलब it opened up again. The case opened again. You were in Arunachal when the case was reopened?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I forgot that part. See what happened when acquittal took place, and somehow the gentleman who was police commissioner and somebody who was handling the case at that time, appeal part of it, they gave very odd statements in the media. They started blaming the investigating officers, not me. They started blaming the investigating officers, not appreciating the point that investigating officers had done the best possible job. They collected correct evidence. They identified the entire situation very methodically. They identified correct witnesses. The witnesses turning hostile in the court is not something the police can control, you understand.
Okay.
But they blamed the investigating officer. It happened. And there was a big situation created. Fortunately, Mr. Gopal Subramaniam, who happened to be ASG that time, I had known Gopal Subramaniam personally also.
Okay.
Somehow I knew him. And then I met him at the last moment and I explained to him the case. When I explained to him the case, Gopal said that, well, these guys, they are crooks. They are not telling me what the case is all about. You are the one who is telling the case all about, and let me inform you, I was not connected to case. I was DG Police of Arunachal Pradesh. I had been taking leave to come to Delhi. I guided the last part of trial and supported Gopal Subramaniam and others along with the team, the same team, which had been actually taken away from the case. And unfortunately, Jessica's sister,
Sabrina, huh?
Sabrina
She made a statement
very
which-
foolish statements, not foolish I would say, probably it was loaded statement, that when I told her that the investigating officers and the evidence is in plenty, the case will succeed. I was very sure that the case will succeed. And she went and met the police commissioner and gave some wrong statement and things like that. So created a doubt about the case. Anyway, touch wood, finally things turned in our favor. And the trial, the High Court appreciated the evidence and the case ultimately was in our favor and we got the verdict we wanted. Thanks to Gopal Subramaniam and the team.
Okay. You were talking about the media scrutiny on this. Do you think was it a positive thing? Was it a negative thing that happened? The media
No,
scrutiny.
I would like to say that overall it was positive. Positive means, first of all, if such things are happening in the world of crime, criminality and justice system, why not people should know about it? So that kind of campaign, recall, this was the first ever campaign. That candlelight campaign and all that stuff started nationally. Okay, that's a good thing which happened. Secondly, if media is scrutinized and covered every bit of trial, every bit of investigation, I mean, nothing wrong in it. See, because personally I feel that media has a role to play. I mean, if you permit me a little digression.
Absolutely.
See, in Rajiv Gandhi case, because that's the biggest case, perhaps the biggest case I did in my career. In Rajiv Gandhi case, as I mentioned in my second book, first book only.
First book, huh?
That I was told by the then director CBI, Mr. Vijay Karan, who happened to be my boss as police commissioner Delhi earlier. The very next day, I mean last night Rajiv Gandhi is killed and next day he tells me that you have to go to Madras, then it was not Chennai. You have to go to Madras with the team and investigate the case. So I was absolutely a stranger, except that long back I was SP of Pondicherry. I had no relationship with South or Tamil Nadu, and when he said it, I have to go. You understand, Tamil Nadu is a very complex and a very different kind of place. You need to be very conversant. And since LTT had killed Rajiv Gandhi and the background had to be known. So along with a team from Delhi, I go to Madras and I proceed to Sri Perambur where Rajiv Gandhi had been assassinated 2 nights before. So what I did, very clever thing I did in fact, media, since you are talking about media, I told my team to collect all the newspapers, including the Tamil newspapers, local newspapers, and give me a small report based on the newspapers. And let me inform you, next day when I was there in Sri Perambur, because then I was there, Karthikeyan had not joined, he joined later. So the material I had in hand was far more than anybody could think of. And when the media started asking me questions, I had answered to almost everything thanks to media. Because as I mentioned that media does a lot of work. They have got huge force of people
Because there were
working.
so many reporters that day.
Correct. And they collect almost everything. They know almost everything. And that case, one thing which happened...
There was also the photographer, frontline photographer.
Correct.
Who had the picture. I'm going to come to that also.
Okay, all right.
Let me come to that later, sir. I have a story to tell about that thing also. But let's conclude the Jessica Lal case and then we can go on to that. In that, I remember, remember reading at that time an article and मैं बहुत ढूंढा मैंने और आज finally मिल गया वो article. It was by this person called Romesh and Vijay Jang Thapa writing on that Jessica Lal case. And they wrote, Delhi has traditionally suffered from an epidemic of contactitis. Whereby the worth of an individual is measured by the range of his connections. I remembered and it stuck in my head कि ये Jessica Lal murder case में this contactitis की बात मैंने पढ़ी थी और finally I found that it was behind a firewall but finally I found it. I said कि ये मुझे quote चाहिए. It was so true. That was the thing that shocked everybody was that this is the who's who of Delhi. सारे के सारे उस रात को वहाँ पे थे और other than a couple of them, they just abandoned Jessica.
I know. It's a fact. It's a fact. And contactitis, the term that you are using, I don't think any other city, any other place is better known or perhaps, let's say, notoriously known for referring to contacts or for making contacts a reality in day-to-day life.
And we should not humanize this contactitis. We should not say कि ये होता है. You know, I think it is also एक मर्ज है किसी भी मुल्क के जो कैपिटल सिटी में ये चीज़ें होती हैं. Where a person's worth is how close to the powers that be you are. And the closer you get, the more compromises you make to get closer and closer. इनमें से कोई भी अगर आप देखें, इनको थ्रेट तो नहीं हुआ होगा जब इनको बोला गया था कि भाई तुम ये मत करो. कुछ लोगों को शायद थ्रेट हुआ होगा.
Very few people, some of the crucial witnesses, they were driven by money power.
हाँ.
Some others who were connected to Jessica and friends, they were partly coerced. But I would not say that there was any kind of force or threat or that serious risk to life was involved. No, it wasn't there. It's a wrong thing. I mean, the power, the political power, the money power had to play its role, which it did in this case and BMW case and such other many cases. That's there. But then yes, through contact and through networking and through relationships, this case also gave it out very strongly that that part of the city's life, that part of the metropolitan city's third phase life is also very important.
Yeah. If the Delhi gang rape story defined a certain generation and the underbelly of Delhi, this was the high society creme de la creme of Delhi, जहाँ पे ये contactitis की वजह से it took years and years for justice to happen. The other case which you mention in your book is also BMW murder case. Murder, क्या कहूँ उसको?
I mean, yes. I mean, it was a murder. It was
yeah, golf links, Lodi Road, defense colony. You're talking about.
You have see. You have loosely mentioned the word murder, isn't it? Without perhaps understanding.
Yeah.
You are not supposed to, but I am supposed to understand the meaning of the term. See, this is a case where during the entire trial process or investigation process, three types of situations. You know, if somebody is killed and there is an investigation going on, somebody dies, unnatural death. Unnatural death could be a suicide, but if it happens to be a homicide, if it happens to be somebody being killed by somebody, three situations. Number one, it's a murder. Number two, it is culpable homicide not amounting to murder. Number three, it's a death on account of negligence. Okay, that results in somebody's dying. You know, these are three situations. Let me inform you. This particular case, if you read my book, is more about, it's more of a narration of legal fights that went on.
Yeah.
All the three situations were discussed by the courts in greatest detail possible.
So you joint commissioner of South Delhi at that time. And again, it is this early morning phone call that happens. आपको सब कुछ early morning phone calls ही आती हैं.
या तो छुट्टियों में आती है. छुट्टियों में Prayas was created in 1988, which I'll talk about it later.
Yes.
It was a holiday.
We'll get to that.
It was a fire. It was an incident or a crisis that created Prayas. In this case, particularly, again, as you said, Mr. V.N. Singh, wonderful man, my commissioner of police, he was there and I was there. In the morning, again, I get a call. And of course, my wife, because that time these ringing telephone is there. So there one gets the call and they said that there is a very horrifying kind of accident which has taken place. They told accident or whatever. Then it wasn't known how it happened. I said, all right, I'll come. And it's not far away. Lodi Road is not far away from Chanakyapuri. I thought I will not inform the police commissioner, but then I thought let's inform. I said that this kind of thing has happened, sir.
ये profile से आप समझ गए कि it is an affluent area.
In one particular, a car comes in breakneck speed, a high-powered vehicle comes in BMW, comes in breakneck speed, hits a police picket, and then 4 policemen on the spot they are hit, and 3 members of public they are hit. And out of these 7 people, 6 dies on the spot and their bodies, dismembered bodies all over the place. And then 1 person is taken to hospital, who of course subsequently, he survives. And incidentally, that character turned terribly hostile ultimately. I mean, can people, it's such a saga of human psyche.
But we must also go back to दिस वाज एन एरा जहाँ पे इस शहर में इतने BMWs नहीं होते थे.
Correct.
So it was a big thing कि BMW murder case. Why we say this again and again is like maybe today saying a Lamborghini or something. मतलब वो भी नहीं बोल सकते आज इतने Lamborghinis आ गए हैं शहर में. But at that time it was a big story. This thing happens. But
so they came.
हाँ.
I mean, it came. It was again the result of a late night party. And this character Sanjeev Nanda, he was not in India. He was studying in USA or something, and he had come on a leave or something, the holidays, and he was here. And this vehicle was not lying with him; it was lying with his sister. And the vehicle he had
Prithviraj Road mein.
That's correct. And he came from very very rich family, very important family.
Explain this Nanda family to me before we go to that incident.
General Nanda was
Admiral Nanda.
Admiral Nanda was a celebrated naval officer, very celebrated, respected, and let me say he maintained his dignity in this case also. He maintains dignity. Yes, he did. I would like to give him. I'll like to compliment him because they produced him. We got him straightway again. Like unlike Manu Sharma escaped, but we got this fellow. So what happened that in the night they were coming with friends, and when they Lodi Road as they entered, and as they were going ahead, so this police picket was there, and these persons were going to railway station not far away from there, and there they came at a breakneck speed, hit the picket, entire picket, and the persons present on the picket, 7 persons. And then as it happened, and finally we found that they not only hit and they went ahead, they took it back. And bodies, dead and alive kind of people were lying there, and they brought it back, and some got crushed beneath. And it was said also, it was felt, they talked to each other, and it was felt that yes,
we have gone over
probably,
a body.
Yes, they have gone over the body, and maybe some bodies inside also. They did not bother, and they ran away. But on the spot, as it happened, on the spot, the broken piece of this thing, number plate was left, some other parts of thing was left, and the telltale signs, some oil was leaking, all that was there. So let me go back to my story, because when I learnt about it, I said, let's go to the spot. So, and I told police commissioner. So I went there. By that time, this story had been completed. By the time we went and saw the spot, and we went to police station, we sat there. Within our presence, these people were arrested already. It was so fast. It was a brilliant investigation, let me tell you. Very rare kind of investigation. What happened that when these items were lying there, a young sub-inspector who was a rookie actually, I call him, because he wasn't so experienced a person. He came in the spot and he very carefully examined the scene of crime, very carefully photographed and recorded it. And there was an inspector from the police control room, because police control room vehicles, generally they came on the spot, so many of them. And they found the oil leaking, and the oil trail was there going like this, you know. And the oil trail was followed by them, and as you have seen the place, you go straight towards Safdarjung tomb, and then take a U-turn from there, and then you have got Golfing Road. And they arrived the house where the vehicle was there. And the vehicle had been parked there in the friend's house, not taken to their home. And when these policemen came and they peeped inside, because there was a gap in the gate, and they found the vehicle was being cleaned actually. The vehicle was being cleaned. And then so the case was actually worked out.
Prima facie it is like, see that.
And immediately after that they went up and they talked to the family members, and they said, ki bhai yahan nahi hai, wo falani jagah pe hai, the other place, the other person who was with them. And then by about 8:39 in the morning we got, and they were still, he was sozzled, he was not yet normal, he had taken so much of alcohol, and then he was taken to hospital for examination, all that stuff. So this was, if I call,
as you said, open and shut case.
I mean, I didn't commit a crime.
When you said it.
Lot of people told me कि भाई आप ये open and shut क्यों बार-बार कहते हो? हमने इसलिए कहते हैं कि है.
Because newspapers had that as the headline also.
That's correct.
That Amod Kanth says that it's open and shut case.
That's correct. So because everything was in place and we were able to arrest the persons, we were able to collect graphic evidence, this entire thing was tracked down, no issues at all. So the case was really worked out. It happened. But the problem is eyewitness. Because in all cases you look for eyewitness. In this case, there there was this thing, petrol pump station was there, and there one person was there. Now that person was there, and when he heard this sound, then he came out. He was an eyewitness to that extent.
Yeah.
But then when he spoke to his boss, that's the owner of petrol pump, and that person gave a call to police control room also. All that happened. And that person says that he was so scared that he went back inside. That's what he says. Okay. Police control room vehicles came on the spot. That went on and on. But the real story is that Pramod Kulkarni.
Yes.
The real story of the case, because all these things were very, very clear and simple.
Sunil Kulkarni.
Sunil Kulkarni. I'm sorry, with the passage of time.
That's all right. That's all right.
So,
मतलब वो क्या अजीबो गरीब character है वो. He's comical also at times, and he's diabolic at times. He's a devil completely. कभी कुछ मतलब. But you आपने तो बेनकाब किया उसको
शुरू से ही किया. ऐसा था कि one of my colleagues, Pradeep Srivastava, was Deputy Commissioner of Police. He was then officiating there. Now, he contacted Pradeep, and then suddenly, after a couple of days, when the case was going on, and we were really in lookout for some eyewitness or somebody who saw the incident taking place, and nobody was to be found, because it was in the wee hours of the morning, it was very dark and very cold, and at that point of time, difficult to find anybody. Now, this fellow talks to Pradeep and others, and because my name used to come in media very often, he came to me in my office. He waited outside for quite some time, because I was told already that a character like him is coming, and he claims that he was on the spot, he was an eyewitness, he saw things happening, and then he went away because he could not bear that situation, kind of thing.
Where did he go? Bombay.
He said not Bombay. Bombay, he had a home in Bombay. He's at large, I hope you know. He's absconding. I appeared in the court also for this case. The case is going on about this character even now, because he's still not found out. He is somewhere, he escaped. So he said, whatever he said. So Pundir, one of my staff officer, who was very experienced policeman, I said, Pundir, I have my doubts. Even without meeting him, I said, Pundir, I have my doubts. Keep him waiting for some time. Let him not feel important. So Pundir said कि अच्छा तुम बैठो, अभी साहब थोड़े busy हैं, तुमसे बात हो गया. I did not show any anxiety or kind of कि इसको हम बुला लें और बात कर लें. He waited. When he started telling his story, his body language, his postures and all, I thought he is a cheat. Let me inform you. I straightway thought that he is not a witness. He is giving a wrong picture, but he was able to convince everybody. तो उसके बाद ये वहाँ पे इसने जो कहानी वहानी कही तो but then we could not have told him, because somebody is coming and presenting himself as an eyewitness in a case where there is no eyewitness. You cannot reject that person at that stage. You understand? See, the prosecution under the law has the privilege to examine or not to examine a witness. We decided subsequently that we shall not examine this man as a witness. As you know that it was the judge who
insisted.
got him as a court witness. You know, there are three types of witnesses: prosecution witness, defense witness, and court witness. He was a court witness. They just got him as a witness of the court much later. So this fellow was there, and then he came. So I told Pradeep कि भाई ऐसा है कि इसको तुम भेजो, पता करो, इसका statement record कराओ. Let him give his statement as required under the law. We had a lady SHO that time who was Lodi Road Police Station. She was the SHO investigating officer. And she looked after him well. She provided for him कि भाग ना जाए यहाँ वहाँ ठहरने का इंतजाम किया. He took full advantage of everything and then made a statement. And that statement was not bad to start with. He kept on changing his statement. And he actually wanted to make maximum money out of it or maximum take advantage of it. That is one part of it. And before that, he was known to two of the very senior most lawyers of Delhi who got destroyed in this case. You know very well.
Yeah.
These two very senior advocates of Delhi.
नहीं, you mentioned it in your book, तो आप नाम ही दे लीजिए.
I have R.K. Anand and Mr. Khan. So these two lawyers, Mr. Khan also offered himself that he wanted to be a lawyer in this case. He offered to me. He offered to Pradeep also. And then we took him. And actually he did not charge any money for that. And perhaps we should not have decided to keep him. For the simple reason that R.K. Anand and Khan used to be very close friends.
Yeah.
वो सारे हम प्याला थे, दोस्ती थी, साथ बैठना, गपशप करना, वो सारी चीज़ थी. वो था, that was there, which all came later.
वो स्टिंग ऑपरेशन में पता लगा.
Correct. The Sting and NDTV had a great time.
हाँ.
And NDTV, now this fellow contacted NDTV, so he was working on.
That is where he came across as a clown.
That's correct. See, he was operating at various levels. Number one, he was in regular contact with the police officer taking advantage. Number two, he was already very close with R.K. Anand and he had stayed in his house, R.K. Anand's house in Shimla. There is a very beautiful house he had.
Yeah.
A complete hill is to himself. And then there he stayed and cheated him, R.K. Anand, because he became his son. He acquired some kind of driving license or whatever which was false, given a false address. So R.K. Anand was finished because of him, you understand. And then he tried to be friendly and he contacted Khan on the other side. On the third side, he contacted NDTV. And he contacted NDTV and got the entire operation, sting operation. He was...
जो सब जुडिस केस था.
Correct.
मीडिया ट्रायल हो गया फिर वो. मतलब he goes on media.
Yes.
And then that also became a case.
See, what happened...
Harish Salve represented NDTV.
See, that's correct.
It was like...
In NDTV, he contacted that girl. I'm just forgetting her name. And
Poonam.
Poonam, that's correct. Poonam Agrawal.
So
Poonam Agrawal, a smart girl. I mean, I talked to her later also because in Kulkarni's case, Poonam is also supposed to appear sometime in the court. I am also supposed to appear. The case is going on. Kulkarni is at large. He must be enjoying himself.
Dubai mein kahin
Maybe watch this interview also wherever he is. Now, so Kulkarni contacted him. He wanted to get the maximum mileage out of it in terms of money, in terms of everything. And can you imagine? He is getting Anand
Prime
and
time
Khan hooked on and everything else.
और वो 5-star होटलों में रह रहा था. He was living king life.
It's a fact. It's a fact that he was getting money from all over and he was enjoying his life.
Then, if he's living like that, isn't that evidence itself that the man comes out of nowhere, high-fly life lead kar raha hai? Where is the money coming from? Is there nobody chasing the money trail?
The problem is that I mean, that's another way one can describe the system collapsing. Such a person should have been rejected straightway, which I did. Let me inform you. He went to High Court when he was sitting with us. One day, what happened that he was sitting with me and I was getting a call from Delhi High Court that in Delhi High Court, he got habeas corpus filed. He got a habeas corpus filed against us that we are forcibly keeping him. That is one part of it. The third part is that there was a case against him in Bombay and the Bombay police came to Delhi and they wanted to arrest him, the Bombay police. And the entire group of lawyers led by another senior lawyer who was very close to him. So there was a big drama in Patiala House Court, outside Patiala House Court. Because the Bombay police officers came along with Delhi police officers, they wanted to catch him because he was in Patiala House Court and he was protected by the lawyers and there was a big bloody jhagda on the road near India Gate and then it went on and on, he escaped along with them. And this case became a very important issue in the judiciary. And then what happened that the concerned judge asked me, because I was Joint Commissioner of Police, to conduct an inquiry. I conducted a thorough inquiry. Let me inform you how the documents are there. I conducted thorough inquiry. I established everything in my personal inquiry. I submitted a report to the court, to that court where these incidents have taken place and the case was also going on. The judge did not do anything with that report. It was lying. You know what happened? Finally, when the Supreme Court decided the case, and the matter of NDTV, etc., was taken up by the Supreme Court in another case, they looked into my report because the entire damn file goes to Supreme Court when the matter is at that level. They talked a lot about my report and they talked a lot about Kulkarni's conduct and all that. They talked a lot about media's role in it. So Supreme Court had to define the role of the media, the role of the police, the role of the court and the role of Kulkarni, and my report also being in the midst. The point I am trying to make, that if something has come on record and some evidence is there, it should be given a sense of finality without getting influenced. The court or the judges got influenced by the lawyers. If they had not been influenced by the lawyers, number one, and secondly, if they had not been cheated by this character, they would not have examined him. The fellow could have been pinned down right there. So NDTV was taken for a ride also, in my opinion. The courts were taken for a ride. Part of police were taken for a ride. A strange character.
Chasing a sexy story. That's what I feel. That it had all the masala to it, what he was doing.
That's correct.
But what happened to the BMW? वो truck कैसे बन गया?
ये तो the main witness who got injured, when he was examined in the case, because he was the most important witness who gets injured and almost died, that person, and became invalid for life practically. He suddenly tells that it was a truck. Now he converts the BMW into a truck. What a nonsense. But he does it. Obviously he was paid. Is there any doubt to anybody that he was not paid? He was paid to speak like that. Anyway, the courts fortunately did not accept this nonsense. And the only difference, the successive courts, nobody acquitted him as such. But the level of criminality or culpability was to be defined. And then finally it was believed that it could be a case of culpable homicide not amounting to murder. That is 304A then. 304.
But वो जब reverse करके चले जाते फिर वो homicide नहीं है क्या?
It should be. It could be. It's a homicide. Now you understand there
culpable homicide नहीं है.
Culpable homicide not amounting to
not
murder.
amounting to murder.
That's the point. There are three things in a crime. See, there is something called motive, there is something called intention, and there is something called act. And there is a word called mens rea, if you have heard it. It's a Latin expression, a state of mind. Now, all these things combine to give the crime a particular shape in the eyes of law. So, these three types of situations were discussed in abundance in the various courts, starting from the Sessions Court up to the highest Supreme Court, something to read really.
Yeah, which you talk, actually it's the title of one of the chapters.
Salman Khan's case was discussed, other cases were discussed because they were all in the same variety.
Yeah.
Same variety. And now, let me inform you, that's very important.
Because BMW got a very bad reputation. एक तो वो सलमान खान केस और वो ये दिल्ली वाला केस. So I remember everybody saying कुछ भी ले लो BMW में दो. It took a lot of time for BMW to change its image in this country, I think. But there's one chapter in which you talk khaki and coat taken for a ride. I think that should have been probably the headline of the book or the masthead, because you, of course, were talking about a different thing ki wo, when they went away and things like that. But the thing is that when khaki and coat is taken for a ride for 10 years in this case.
Yes.
For 10 years, a open and shut case, उस पे दरवाजे खुलते ही रहते हैं. Open and shut क्या है ये तो? मतलब more doors come up, more windows come up, and the guy gets away. It takes a long time.
No, because see, as I say, and I very strongly argue on that point. See, India's criminal justice system, which is based on these laws, three laws, the basic laws, CRPC, IPC, Evidence Act, now changed into the names I can't recall readily, and local special laws which are there. Now, all these laws are a product of, as you know, 1857, First War of Independence. 1860 was IPC, 1861 was Police Act. So, even now, the changes are good. Some changes are really good. For example, the method of collecting evidence or video recording, etc., are very good. But then the character of these laws remain unchanged. And these laws are actually alien to the people's mind. They don't understand. Who understands? Do you understand?
No.
I'm telling that even the judges don't understand the laws.
Complex.
Why is the need to keep on interpreting laws endlessly? We should be very plain and simple. So basically, in this entire process of laws, as Justice Chandrachud made a statement which I quote many a time. Some time back, while he was Chief Justice, he made a statement that the laws not necessarily lead to justice. Then what are they used for? If the laws can't lead to justice, as if justice is something which is a different thing, justice in a very technical sense, and laws in a very different sense. So the problem
it's a longer story, sir. I'm sorry to interrupt, and I'm sure my viewers and listeners will get very angry कि आप interrupt क्यों कर रहे हो. But then आपने इतना कुछ लिखा है that I have to go away from the bigger picture and just talk about the absolute cases. There has to be a part 2. I'll come to Charles Sobraj in that one. But before that, I want to take you to this Romesh Sharma. In your book, you have these conversations with your alter ego, which is a very interesting conversation. Jo hota hai. And in one, you mention this guy. He was a politician or don with connections with international mafia, with Dawood Ibrahim. People have forgotten Romesh Sharma. People know about the other cases. They know about Charles Sobraj. So वो अगली बारी मैं डिस्कस करूंगी. मुझे रोमेश शर्मा की कहानी बताइए.
Romesh Sharma ki his life itself was, I think, let's say, pretty fascinating from the point of view he was rags to riches story.
हाँ. कोई पिक्चर बनी है उसके?
नहीं बनी.
नहीं ना आज तक?
I don't think there is any kind of film or any documentary, anything like
हाँ.
that on Romesh Sharma. Poor man. He did
अभी
so
वो
much.
अनुराग कश्यप ये देखता होगा और वो पिक्चर जरूर बनाएंगे वो.
I'm very sad
or
about
maybe
him.
Tigmanshu Dhulia will make
He did
it.
so much in life and his life was so interesting, so colorful also, let me inform you. So colorful in many ways, starting from a small town, from a village in Uttar Pradesh. And then when he comes to Delhi, then he is selling these hangers and all, that kind of thing. He had no money or no qualification. Except that he had some technical knowledge he had developed. Kunjum Budhiraja, poor girl, she was also killed by him only, I think, ultimately. I mean, I do not know what court verdicts was. And she was a very sweet, beautiful and very young girl whom we examined because she was very much present while we arrested him and while we investigated him. Going back to his life and his story. So, he came from nowhere. And he was an ordinary boy from a small village, came from an ordinary family. No symptoms of these kind of activities in his life. These opportunities were not with him. And then he came to Delhi and in the old Delhi area, he sold these hangers and all. That's what he was doing. Then he went to Bombay and Bombay opened up his world. I mean, he was essentially a mafia because of Bombay, isn't it? He was a politician because he kept on coming to Delhi, he kept on going to other places because he had very strong political inclinations. He wanted to be something very important through politics. And as I mentioned that in Bombay, very soon he came in contact with Vardabhai.
Vardarajan Mudliar.
Vardarajan Mudliar. And then before that, he had already became friendly with a person who was in business. And they together made some money. And then that was in a more his life of entrepreneurship, where he tried to do something in a proper way. Wanted to establish himself as a businessman, as someone who could produce and who could earn money out of business. That was he doing. But his world was different. His aspirations were very, very different. And he met Vardabhai at a time when Vardarajan Mudliar had Dawood coming up. And
there was that whole Haji Mastan,
correct.
Karim Lala, Dawood thing which was going on at that stage.
But Vardaraj Mudliar was like a big boss.
Yeah.
And he was very important. And he was one of those characters from South who created a world of their own in Bombay. And Bombay's mafia became so prominent partly because of Vardabhai. He was one of those important persons. And he had this fellow Dawood as one of his very active persons. And the other side, Romesh Sharma. So, Vardabhai, Dawood, Romesh Sharma, two characters who were very close to him. And Dawood did whatever the world knows about him. And this fellow kept on dabbling between politics and the mafia together.
Property का भी काम.
Property का तो बहुत किया. Property का he acquired property, he snatched property and all that stuff. And then in Delhi, he did the same thing. He created a base in Delhi. His Delhi base was primarily for the reason that he wanted to be politically very important. He wanted to be a politician. And actually, there was a party of which he became president and several political parties he joined, he left. And then he developed contacts with a lot of politicians.
But this is at a time when people knew कि ये दाऊद के साथ इसके contacts हैं and still he was part of the political system.
That's correct. That's correct. इसके contact लगातार थे और people knew also about it. Actually, in several, the police has system of tracking call records and those systems are there. And it was known that he was in contact with the international mafia and the Dawood's group, he was in contact with him.
This is after the blast? After the Bombay bomb blast.
Yes, after Bombay blast.
In spite of that, this man is in touch with Dawood.
That's correct.
And politicians are in touch with
Yes,
Romesh Sharma.
it's a fact. It's a fact. And it was not something which was a big secret. It was a known fact that he was connected to Bombay Mafia. It was a known fact that he is a don and he is a kind of person who is a property grabber and applies third degree in a lot of people. And as you know what happened.
farm में कहीं रहता था ना?
correct.
मेहरौली या पता नहीं कहाँ पे farm.
Mata something.
Anyway,
So that farm is there in Mehroli. And then this particular case, that famous helicopter case, which opened him up because see, he fought an election and he had acquired this helicopter for election campaigning. And then after that, when they wanted to take back the helicopter, he said, no, helicopter is mine. And then applied his force and everything else and got the helicopter dismantled and then brought to Delhi and Jai Mata Di farm where his place was there, the helicopter was parked there and then we seized it from there only, from that place. That is one part of it. Now he was very close to then India's biggest industrial house then and today, the big boss, the group president of Reliance, you know it very well. And then they were quite close, friendly to each other. And then what happened that this helicopter he wanted to sell off to them. And there were already two companies in which there was one Reliance Estate and Reliance Property kind of names were there. We conducted a raid. In the office, the Connaught Place office of Reliance. And then because he said that the documents of the helicopter was lying there. And those documents were recovered from there. And incidentally, a case in Official Secrets Act was also registered because of that incident. That's a long story. So this fellow was so close to people in the world, in the corporate world, he was so close to Dhirubhai's people, he was very close to them. And actually, Dhirubhai's son-in-law who was in Goa, he was also being threatened from time to time. And whether he protected them or not protected them, but the fact remains that some kind of protection he gave to them also.
It was a time and era when all industrialists had, or not all, it's a sweeping statement to make, but industrialists had links with the mafia in Bombay. It was impossible to survive in Bombay without having one or two of these guys for doing their work. Is that it?
A person like him came very handy because he had very deep connections in politics. He very easily used to travel. That's correct. With lot of very top politicians, he used to go with them. Somebody's car is driving, somebody is escorting, somebody is entertaining. You understand? Like, the big boss from Bihar, the chief minister, he was quite friendly with him. And in Bombay also, a lot of other very important politicians, when they used to go to Bombay, somehow he managed to be close. And so his political links and political activities were quite prominently in his life. And he used it to the hilt. That is one. And the second point you said, which is very important, the connect of corporate with the mafia, not for the reason that they wanted to be friendly with mafia, but for the simple reason that they could threaten them.
Yeah.
And they used to extort money.
Or docs were,
That's correct.
A lot of the docs were in control of some of these mafia guys at that time.
Doc area, that's correct.
Yeah.
That was a big story.
Yeah.
That went on and on.
Yeah.
And this fellow being close to the mafia, and initially being groomed as a mafia person, or with Varda Bhai or Dawood and all that, this fellow had a role to play there. So he was a very peculiar combination, which was not with others. You will not come across anybody who on the one hand was a political person and he was very, very active political person with huge political aspirations. He said it that he wanted to become member of parliament and Raj Sabha was the thing he wanted to get actually. He was very keen
election
about
bhi lada tha, Phulpur
election
se
lada
ya
tha.
kahin se,
He lost it though. In that election only he got that helicopter. So that is one part of it. Second part, that being friendly with lot of politicians, he also got in contact with politicians for the simple reason that he would like to protect them, he would like to help them. They wanted his services. Corporate on the third side, as you know that some of the business, he was quite close to them, and then he was giving them semblance of protection, etc. So that kind of bundle of activities that he carried around himself is something which makes him very special, or perhaps which a different kind of, criminal. He was a criminal having political links, mafia, and property dealings, as you said.
Yeah.
And there he took fullest advantage of his mafia connections in his property dealings. And he forcibly deprived many people of their properties, several in Delhi, which we investigated.
So what happened ultimately to him?
We registered nearly 18-19 cases against him when we arrested him, and everything opened up because in his house, there was
Mayfair Garden or something.
Mayfair Garden.
Again, the reason I'm bringing these addresses is because your life somehow revolves around very elite areas of
Although I'm not an elite person at all.
but I guess your line of work or whatever, you picked up people from all these areas जहाँ पे multiple 100 crores की properties है.
I know.
हाँ.
His house in Mayfair Garden was a very important, very big house, and there, when we went and we searched the house and we were investigating, there was a rack kind of thing in which there were 10-15 keys were lying, car keys, and they all belonged to him.
Okay.
All those cars, the most fancy vehicles in those times were with him. Some of the houses' keys were also there. And that lady called Kunjum Buddhiraja, who happened to be his girlfriend that time, and that lady ultimately was killed because she claimed that she was married to him. And she used to go to his farmhouse, and he was in jail after that because we never let him out. And then finally she was killed. And as was mentioned that he organized that kind of murder of his girlfriend, whoever she was. So it made a very, very peculiar story, you understand.
Yeah.
I mean, these kind of activities.
But he didn't get accused, he didn't pay the price of murdering her or getting, because he was in jail.
He was charged. He was charged for the murder. And the trial went on. But then finally, perhaps in the court, it could not get proved, established to that extent.
Let's get to the political part of your life, in the sense that your interaction, direct interaction. Before we get to the riots post Indira Gandhi murder, there was this one incident where Bhindranwale comes to Delhi and a lot of weapons, are found. He was reportedly trying to target something. You were DCP West District at that time. Did you meet him? What was your interaction with?
See, what happened that what is forgotten is the previous incident, that is prior to Indira Gandhi's assassination, or Operation Blue Star. Let's not forget that Operation Blue Star did not come out of blue.
Yeah.
There was a story behind Operation Blue Star. A lot of incidents were taking place. 1980s, in fact, I have attempted to trace that background also to a certain extent in 81, 82, 83, 84, whatever was happening. During that period, Bhindranwale somehow became very important. And he was politically also very active. And he was moving in Delhi. And when he was moving in Delhi, along with him were lots of people carrying weapons. Whether those weapons were licensed or unlicensed, one doesn't know. So hordes of people in trucks, open trucks, going all over and making all kinds of slogans. And he decided to come to Tihar jail. That was the point where I confronted him. And because in Tihar jail, there were a lot of people who were there and who were from the movement kind of thing, or some politicians were there who were arrested and kept in Tihar jail at that point of time. And he wanted to meet them. He wanted to address them, actually. Because he thought he was a big leader. And he was becoming popular in certain kind of people. So when he came to Tihar jail, as you enter Tihar jail, the main gate is there, the main building is there. And behind that, there are several other buildings. other jails, the parts of jails. And these people are kept in behind, kind of thing. Side se aap wahan ja sakte ho. So there was no instruction from the government what to do with him. And he would come and he would go inside. You understand? And then they didn't know what to do, the jail authorities. And since I was Deputy Commissioner of Police of West Delhi, and a small contingent was there, the police contingent, to protect the jail. So they wanted me that I should do something to stop this gentleman from getting inside the jail and to create ruckus, whatever, because he was with a lot of people with weapons
Neta
and
tha
all.
us waqt.
So in the jail behind, the other jail where he wanted to go, and he had information, and so what I did, that I stood there along with some policemen, and because what these people will do was not known. As you know that in Punjab, in Golden Temple, they did a lot of things, attacked police officers, attacked other people. So when I stay put there to inform him, because nobody dared to tell him that it's a jail and there's certain process to be followed, and that rabble rouser team of people, heat and dust all over, could not be allowed to come and get inside the jail and all.
So you were face to face with him.
Correct. So
What was he like? Short, tall, kya tha?
tall. He was not too tall, but yes, he was tall, wiry, absolutely thin, very smart fellow, very agile and alert. That kind of person that he was, and young, of course, he was. And he had people were crazy about him, his followers. And
But
all.
when you saw him, was there that...
He always spoke in Punjabi. I never speak Punjabi. That was my problem. But I told him, in the sense with my people, I told that कि आप ये जेल है, इसकी कुछ फॉर्मेलिटीज होती है, इसके कुछ तरीके होते हैं, ऐसा हमने कहा उसको.
आप अंदर नहीं आ सकते.
हाँ, तो हमने कहा कि आप. He stopped and the whole damn thing they stopped. And then those formalities were completed before he was allowed to go inside with some of the people. The idea was that, damn it, there is a rule of law.
But did he really think कि ऐसे open weapons के साथ वो अंदर जा सकता है?
देखिए वो क्या कर सकता है या क्या कर सकता था उस ज़माने में, बड़ा मुश्किल है ये बताना, क्योंकि कुछ अजीब कैरेक्टर था उसका. आप
रौब था,
बहुत सारी चीज़ें हो रही थी. See, I used to go I used to investigate a lot of cases. And then big cases I investigated, as you know. Harjinder Singh Jinda and Sukha, whom my team arrested twice. First time we arrested in Delhi, he went to Gujarat and escaped. And second time he killed A.S. Vaidya.
Yeah.
And then people like Ajit Doval, he was the big boss and big person from IB side. We were there and we all did it. So I saw the entire development very closely somehow. And in Delhi, I was in very crucial positions. I was DCP West, I was DCP Central, I was DCP Crime. So this 8, 9, 10 years, whatever happened in Delhi, I was party to it. I was very much there. So I could see the developments. Then I used to go to Punjab for investigations. And in Punjab, my friends like Izhar Alam, my batchmate, he was there. Mr. S.S. Virk, very celebrated police officer, he was there. So all those people, and we had a team of people across the country in various locations who were investigating these cases and who were generally in know of things. So the point I am trying to make...
कि 84 जब when she was assassinated or before Blue Star, you knew कि...
Yes, it was a very, in my opinion, which I thought it was a very dangerous situation, that lot of people were going, they were at large with very wrong kind of behavior, very aggressive behavior. And many of them were being allowed to behave like that. That kind of permission was given to them, not officially. So it was happening. There were Nirankari Baba was killed.
Yeah.
There were several assassinations that took place. Bomb blast and all had been going on.
Transistor blast.
Then transistor bomb blast came after. This was a sequel. That Operation Blue Star, Indira Gandhi being assassinated, and then transistor bomb blast case in the month of May.
Yeah.
It happened, 1985. And that was the biggest series of kind of bomb blast anywhere in the country. I don't think prior to that anything like that had happened, because the Bombay blast took place in 1993.
Yeah.
So 1985 transistor bomb blast cases where nearly 100 bombs were manufactured, nearly 80 bombs were exploded, 85 people died, 150 got injured, 5 states got involved. Unfortunately I was doing that case also, investigation. So this series of things, I could see the writing on the wall. I could see things happening. That was being with the time, as you said, that in a particular kind of situation or development, if you by chance you become party to it, you quoted somebody in the very beginning.
Yeah, that Chinese saying that you live in interesting times.
That's correct. I lived in bad times. I lived in violent times. And those violent times gave me an opportunity
I
to
remember
understand.
Doordarshan mein ads which used to come to say that jo lawaris vastu padi hai, and the
Correct.
photograph accompanying that कि लावारिस वस्तु अगर पड़ी है तो उसे हाथ मत लगाइए. And they used to show transistor, they used to show a doll, a teddy bear कि ऐसी चीज़ें अगर कहीं पे मिले तो इसको हाथ मत लगाओ. And I remember very clearly as a school child, ISBT में gadar macha, everybody running here in helter skelter because they found a transistor. It was a benign thing, but there was a transistor which was lavaris. So matlab, these are things which live with you, you know what I mean? I was in school, but I will never forget that panic that it actually happened to me, that that a transistor was there in ISBT, Interstate Bus Terminal, and that thing came back to me. अरे बाप रे, ये तो मैंने दूरदर्शन में सुना था कि ट्रांजिस्टर के पास मत जाना.
It's such an interesting situation now that
Yeah.
what you felt and saw as a child, maybe young girl,
Yeah.
and I saw and felt and participated
As
in
a
the
cop.
situation as a cop. It really makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And mind you, those who are looking after politics and administration and the world of crime, criminality and law and order today should feel happy that India has changed a lot.
Yeah.
We are much better off.
Yeah.
Those were very bad times.
Again, you're talking about a time जब CCTV नहीं है, कुछ नहीं है.
Correct.
No cell phone.
आप ये समझो कि which I have written and I talk about it, that when 1984 riot took place, Delhi police was terribly ill-equipped.
Yeah.
Delhi police was small in the first place. These today we have got couple of thousand vehicles which are called PCR vans all over.
Yeah.
You have got
वो
CCTVs all
जिप्सीज
over.
तो बाद में आई जो.
Correct.
मारुति जिप्सी जो है
That's
वो
correct.
बाद में आई.
In
उस
fact,
वक्त
I
कहाँ था?
compliment my big boss Ved Marwa, who was an outstanding police officer, commissioner of police, with whom I worked for several years. I was his favorite and he was my favorite as a boss. Now, things changed for Delhi police.
Yeah.
And across the country, these things happened probably after these times. Before that, the entire machinery was different. The machinery changed.
Come to the time that when you hear about Indira Gandhi's assassination. What happened when you heard that?
See, I was Deputy Commissioner of Police, Central Delhi. As you go on this Daryaganj, police station Daryaganj is there and Deputy Commissioner of Police office there, and behind Deputy Commissioner of Police office was my home. Actually, that was the original home of the SP of Delhi. Only one SP used to be there long back, and Deputy Commissioner was sitting in civil lines. This was the area Delhi was there. You understand? Delhi gate is there and the wall is there. So, morning I was coming there to my office, which was next door along with the wife Rekha. As I was reaching my gate, the wireless operator came. Police control room was just across my home. The district level police control room, and he said कि मैडम को किसी ने गोली मार दी.
मैडम को.
And I understood because everybody used to call her Indira Gandhi, madam and all. But the first impulse which came to me was very surprising, which I have written and I can't believe. I thought it was an insider's work.
You knew immediately.
Yes. I thought, because I had done a lot of duties in that area. You know, Safdarjung Road and Akbar Road and Safdarjung Lane. That is the place which became Indira Gandhi Memorial now.
Yeah.
That was the place where we used to sleep and we used to keep a watch, and as young police officer we had done duty one doesn't know how many times. We had very clear idea about the place. And that was a protected place. And I thought that it was an insider's job. Something came to my mind without any background. The other thing which I thought was far more important, which helped me ultimately, I could visualize a lot of things happen which perhaps many others could not. The press area of Delhi was in my area. Indira Gandhi was ultimately cremated in my area, part of central Delhi. And I went to office listening to this news, and I learned that Indira Gandhi was killed and all that stuff. BBC started making announcement, and people started gathering all over. They are all India Institute of Medical Sciences, etc., but more in the press area to understand, to know. When I went to office, the first thing I did, I called almost everyone. All my police officers, I called them. I called Home Guard people, I called civil defense people. I addressed them. And I told that these are going to be the most difficult times in our lives. I could visualize something like a civil war.
That was a crucial time, and you were on duty at that stage. And you hear that Indira Gandhi, the Prime Minister, has been killed. And then riots break out within a few hours. Was Delhi police equipped, and what did you see that day?
No, that is
those days, one whole week.
The entire, I can never forget, or these memories will never get old in my head. They are always there, always fresh. Because nothing like that can happen again to this city. I think that was the worst thing to happen. 3,006 being killed in a matter of 4-5 days' time is something really terrible. But since I was in central Delhi, and central Delhi was heart of Delhi, in those times we had just 6 districts in Delhi, remember. Now they have got 15. So it was a very big area and the most difficult area, where the communities lived together, and they had very, very deep connections to each other. So it was very difficult to tackle, let me inform you. And it is only later when Rangnath Mishra Commission looked into it, and Nanavati later looked into it, and they made a case out of me that if Mr. Amod Kanth, Central Delhi, could contain the riots to a certain extent, why others failed. I got some.
You got an award also.
So the issue is that for me, on hindsight, whatever I tell you now, but in those times, I felt as if I did nothing. Because around me was violence, and I was hardly at home. Although I lived there, let me inform you, for nearly 5-6 days, I was mostly out. And one thing I did, number one, I made all my officers to work very sincerely, and they did not leave their place. The most striking part of my district was, I had half a dozen very crucial officers who were Sikhs. The Sardar officers were holding the fort, let me tell you. Daryaganj ACP, Sardar Ajmer Singh, was a towering, strong personality. And then he was the most important Assistant Commissioner of Police in my district. Likewise, I had many Sikh officers. And when the police headquarters, Commissioner of Police decided that Sikh officers should be asked to surrender arms, I opposed. I opposed, and so it was on my suggestion that this did not take effect, but I did not allow my Sikh officers to leave the place. I said, if you leave today, you can't come back tomorrow. And they got injured, many of them. They suffered, but I was always there with them. And it happened. So this was a very difficult kind of situation. Wherever you go, you find a couple of thousand people gathering, and all kinds of rumors, wrong rumors being spread. जैसे रूमर था कि नहीं फलाने जगह जो है वाटर टैंक में पॉइजन आ गया, फिर कह दिया कि नहीं ये गुरुद्वारा से लोग निकले और ये अटैक कर रहे हैं. तो होता नहीं रूमर मैंग. आई हैव नेवर सीन this kind of rumor mongering which was spread by the people, creating a situation of hostility, and people went by that. They believed it, and that started the same night. It went on and on. So the point I am trying to make, that it was...
Nobody tried to quell those rumors.
No, see,
that's another thing.
It's very difficult.
Because there was no social media, there was no 24-hour news also.
The government and the police and the entire system was ill-equipped for that kind of situation in Delhi, as you know. And Indira Gandhi was a very towering personality. And then her getting away from situation in these circumstances had certain kind of effect on everything. And that effect was devastating. That's a fact. And then let me kind of tell it from the other point of view, that yes, the situation was very, very difficult to contain, there is no doubt. But at the same time, as a police officer or as people who are supposed to protect the law, if we acted, we were able to disperse crowds. In fact, in my district, as you know, the actual killing, the actual Sardars who were killed was not more than 18, 20. In fact, the number of Hindus whose bodies were found and who were killed because of firing, etc., was more than Sardars in the district. We tried to stop, but frankly speaking, if I am speaking today, I am reliving the whole situation.
Yeah.
And I feel that in those times, my state of mind was very different, and I felt that I am not doing enough. It's only later that others started telling कि भाई आपने तो ये कर दिया, ये तो नहीं हुआ, ये इतने आउटर एरिया में इतने लोग मर गए, यहाँ इतने लोग मर गए और ये सारी चीज़ हो गई. It was a very bad time. It was a terrible situation. I only wish that that kind of situation should never come to this country anywhere. That was really bad.
And the cremation also happened in your...
When the cremation took place, it was curfew and those kind of prohibitory orders, they were applied. Nothing like that. Lakhs of people came there. I vividly remember, in fact, because in the cremation, my colleague Ajmer Singh Chauhan, I wanted him to be along with me. And Ajmer Singh Chauhan was 1 feet higher than me, strong, powerful Sardar. And then when they started kind of attacking him, all that stuff, I had a tough time protecting him, that kind of thing. So it was a very difficult situation, very, very difficult situation. I think I was lucky, I would say lucky that this huge situation of cremation could be handled without untoward incidents. It went off because all across the Delhi situations were very, very grim and out of control in major part of the city. And not only why say city, in all those places across the country, the situation was quite bad wherever people from a particular community were being attacked. So this, and then of course, it is because of whatever happened here, as I mentioned, the transistor bomb blast case was like, this kind of a burning knife as it driven in the heart of a particular community, and whatever happened in subsequent days, those people who were reported to be with the writers, there was a black book, as you know, PUCL's report, it came in a kind of book form. Persons were named. Several people were attacked. Lalit Makhan was killed from that book. Arjun Das was killed from that book. General A.S. Vaidya was killed. And a lot of other people were targeted. Sajan Kumar, Titler, case is still going on. So, the entire story is on a different footing altogether, which is...
Lalit Makhan's case that there was that Khalistani separatist Ranjit Singh Kuki,
That's
who
correct.
finally got extradited.
He was in USA and he was brought back. He was brought back to India. And then now, of course, all of them have been let off. Nobody is in the jail now. And but the main killers, Sukhdev Singh Sukha and Harjinder Singh Jinda, who created a very deadly team, they were responsible partly for Lalit Makhan, Arjun Das, and several other important cases of Punjab also. They were responsible. When they escaped and they killed General A.S. Vaidya, then we arrested him again, and then finally they were hung. They were hanged to death.
Yeah. But that was because General Vaidya.
General Vaidya.
Yeah.
Because the other cases were kept on hold because that trial started earlier.
So there's this one assassination which happens, and many of us who remember or were old enough to remember that thought that this was it. Never again is it going to happen. Then comes the assassination of Rajiv Gandhi. But he wasn't a prime minister then, he was a former prime minister then. Tell us about that and the investigation that you were. You briefly mentioned that you were sent to Tamil Nadu, you went to Sri Peramadur. So when the assassination happened, Prime Minister was Chandrasekhar. So what were you doing at that time?
See, the situation...
where were you posted?
I'll just tell you. See, again, I think I shouldn't be using the term fortuitously. I would rather say unfortunately. I happened to be the OSD to Home Minister and Information Broadcasting Minister. At that point of time, the situation in Tamil Nadu was very critical. And the party in power was heavily influenced by LTT. You understand? LTT Supremo Prabhakaran was like a hero. You understand? He was not an ordinary person. He was perhaps, in my opinion, if you look at the history of terrorism across the globe, there could not be anybody like him, in the sense that he had that larger than life image. He had huge following. He was able to control part of Sri Lanka. When Rajiv Gandhi was assassinated and we reached the spot, actually we did not have any clue as such. It was a blind case. Unlike, as I always mention, unlike the two other great Gandhis, Mahatma Gandhi, again open and shut case in a way, Indira Gandhi, the people who were caught. Rajiv Gandhi assassination case was perhaps the most critical and the most difficult case to investigate, and perhaps the most talked about case in India. No other assassination could be as important in investigation as Rajiv Gandhi assassination, because in the beginning there was no knowledge at all who could kill him. You understand that? See what happened, that you should be giving credit to our team that they were able to do it. We, as a matter of policy, there are two ways to investigate. You pick up things from scene of crime, and whatever clue you get from scene of crime becomes very important. Fortunately, in this case, on the scene of crime, we had Hari Babu's camera. You understand? On the scene of crime, when the crime took place, Government of India very correctly, appropriately decided to give it to CBI directly and no local investigation. Mr. R.K. Raghavan, a very celebrated police officer, directed CBI later. He was the IG of that area where crime took place, Sri Perambudur. And Vijay Karan, as you mentioned.
So it is smart move of Chandrasekhar to give it to CBI right away and not to give it to the state police.
That's correct.
Because the state police was compromised completely.
That's the point I am trying to make.
Yeah.
That's the point I would like to explain very briefly. See, what happened that they decided that CBI will investigate the case, and I was picked up in the CBI as DIG investigation. Karthikeyan joined later in this case. Scene of crime was kept intact. That is, Sri Perambudur's scene of crime was kept intact. And as you know, what I have learnt as investigator, scene of crime is crucial, because people say that the culprit always leaves her identity card on the scene of crime.
And she left it.
And yes, she left it. I mean, her body itself was, her face was the identity card.
Yeah.
So what happened that we went to the scene of crime, and then Mr. Raghavan, he explained to us that the camera was there, that camera was there.
Babu's.
Hari Babu's camera, and it was lifted in the night itself, and then it was sent to a private photographer. That private photographer separated the exposed portion of the film. It was then left to sent to Tamil Nadu Forensic Science Lab, where director was Mr. Chandrasekharan, a high-flying kind of person. He didn't do the right thing, but anyway, it was there. So this camera, that way, the film was already with us, already in the Tamil Nadu Forensic Science Lab. That is one part. And then somehow this information that this girl, Dhanu, who killed herself, her face was intact.
Yeah.
The body was blown up. Her face was intact. And the pieces of that jacket, that bomber jacket where she had concealed the entire explosive material, etc., that also could be collected. It could be collected. Her face being intact.
How did that happen? To me, it was always confusing that she's wearing a suicide jacket. Her face stays intact, whereas Rajiv Gandhi's entire front and torso is gone.
It is a pure chance, I would say, because see what
Physics
happens.
बताइए ना कैसे हो
I'll
जाता
just
है?
tell you.
हाँ.
See what happens that as Hari Babu's camera and photographs they were taking. As you know that LTT and Prabhakaran
Videoed everything.
Have a system that they always direct their operatives that they should take films and photographs so that they are convinced कि इन्होंने किया है. You understand? So
and there was a perversion in LTT where
That's correct.
they glorified their suicide bombers by playing that video. Just as Naxals करते हैं, playing the video to show that these are martyrs.
Correct.
That was the
Hari Babu was an Indian Tamil, and he was engaged by Shivarasan and team, those people, to take photographs, and he went along with these people to the scene of crime. And there he was taking photograph. It was very clear. It was very clear that Shubha and Shivarasan were seen. They were hanging around nearby. Then they went away.
But
and Dhanu was trying to come closer. while she was trying to come closer, that lady sub-inspector Nusuya, who gave a very critical statement, was really a bright woman according to me. Now she was trying to push them so that they don't come very close to Rajiv Gandhi. Then Kokila,
that politician.
Politician, Kokila and that small girl who was trying to come near Rajiv Gandhi. So all these people were trying to converge towards, they were trying to come because they wanted to come closer to, he was a very popular man.
But he used to also call, na?
That's the point, that he called. Actually, he did not allow, what Anusuya told us, that he did not allow these people to be pushed back. So she came in proximity. When she comes in proximity, they are a toggle, as you call it. There was a toggle, and she had that garland. She garlanded and she stooped as if touching their feet, and in that process she put on the toggle and then it blasted.
15 days before this, I was covering Rajiv Gandhi in Bhopal, and Pataudi was standing for election, and he was campaigning for Pataudi, Mansoor Ali Khan Pataudi.
Really?
Yeah, he was campaigning for him there, and he was there, and about 15 days or 13 days or whatever. And I was covering his thing, और वो हम दूर पे बैठे थे, and all the reporters and all वो आगे जा रहे थे, and I looked at this podium जहाँ पे वो खड़े थे, and it was looking very rickety. मैंने कहा ये तो टूटने वाला है, in this, and 11 o'clock at night and all that. So then he just said like this towards us, कि आगे आ जाओ, like पीछे क्यों खड़े हो, आगे आ जाओ, because everybody was coming front and all that. So my cameraman Romesh, he told me, he said, ma'am, PM साहब आपको आगे बुला रहे. They used to call him PM, even though he was not PM.
Correct.
Chandrasekhar was PM, but that aura.
They thought that he will become Prime Minister.
He will become Prime Minister or whatever.
Prabhakaran thought the same way and got him killed.
So he said, PM साहब आपको आगे बुला रहे हैं. तो मैंने कहा मैं ऊपर नहीं चढ़ने वाली भैया, मैं गिर जाऊंगी, मेरे को ये पोडियम बड़ा ही हल्का लग रहा है. But I was just saying how things turn, that I didn't go towards the podium because I thought, but it was like that. Everybody was going towards him. There was no security around him. There was nothing. Absolutely. Election ka mahal, former Prime Minister, kuch bhi nahi. And a person whose mother was assassinated. There was nothing. There were people around him, and there were reporters who went with him on another coverage, and they said that when he put his arm, sleeve aise jab kar rahe the, there were marks like this on his thing, because people used to come and touch him. Itne kareeb aa rahe the log. So it was, when it actually happened, I wasn't surprised. Because I saw it myself, ki 15 din pehle this has happened.
He did it everywhere.
He would go towards people, he would go near. There was no system of security.
He was very careless about his security. And, one day, just a digression. One day, as you know, that it was raining, and he, along with his wife, they were going in car. And he used to go like that. And so they started chasing him. I mean, the security people started chasing. At one particular point of time, what happened that he stopped the vehicle and took the keys and threw it. And he went, you understand? In the sense that he used to be on his own, and he was that way, he was popular, and he wanted to be like that, come closer to people.
Closer, yes.
And this particular thing, and these people, as you know, going back to the case, see, you know that VP Singh had held election meeting, there was an election meeting. Prior to Rajiv Gandhi's case, Rajiv Gandhi's election meeting where he was killed. And these people had conducted a recce and rehearsal. Everybody was there. Shivrasan, Shubha, Dhanu, all were present in VP Singh's program. And they planned that how it happens. I mean, they made VP Singh a kind of his place to be the
dummy.
And then they planned and they decided and all that stuff.
But they didn't detonate.
They did nothing. They were not planning. It was only a kind of rehearsal to understand, recce to understand how things are happening. Because VP Singh was a highly protected person. He was that time very important. So they did. Coming back to the case part of it, I'll just explain to you. See what happened that when we arrived and when we got on the one side, the photographs came. The face of this girl was there, Dhanu was there. And this all these photographs, even before they were handed over to us, you know that it was given by Mr. Chandrasekharan, the the director of Forensic Science Lab, he went to Forensic Science Lab in the night and he gave these photographs to Hindu newspaper. Hindu published it. And that was very wrong actually, you understand, because till then we had not taken these photographs and camera and everything else in our investigation. And I seriously protested. I mean, I differed with my bosses and others on many points. This was one of the points where I said that, listen, this photograph has to be connected to the case from evidence point of view. And you have to give the entire journey. That camera was taken to private photographer. It was developed partly there. Then it was the photographs taken to this place, your Forensic Science Lab, and kept there. And how it was given to Hindu newspaper and got published even before we took it in evidence. That is one part. The second part is that, which is
जो frontline के cover पे छपा था
सब जगह है, हिंदू में आ गया. It came
of her Jayanti Natarajan lifting the वो वाला shot.
All the photographs, there were only five, six photographs. They came, the crucial photographs, Shivrasan's photograph and Dhanu's photograph. They ultimately came in the newspaper. When they developed the face of Dhanu and the photograph, they could compare. It was clear. And it was very clear that Hari Babu had a plan behind it. It was not an odd photography. It was a planned photography and connected to the killers. That was understood very soon, very quickly. But the case, how the case got worked out, coming back to LTT point, see, before that, Padmanabha was the chief of EPRLF. EPRLF was the main kind of contestant against LTT. They were very powerful bodies. LTT had gone far ahead and Prabhakaran had become larger than life and he was controlling part of Sri Lanka, as you know. So Padmanabha was brutally killed a couple of months back in Madras, despite the fact that Padmanabha was being protected by Government of India. We were protecting him. And the then government did not do much to investigate Padmanabha's case. When we went back into previous cases, Padmanabha case came loud and clear that it was a very important case. And the concerned DYSP of Tamil Nadu Police told me that the eyewitness, the main witness of this case, was very unhappy because he was not properly examined, properly treated. So myself and my SP, Amit Verma, was an outstanding officer, he is no more. Amit and myself went to his house, talked to him, and then he immediately recognized that Shivrasan, the main person, the main person's photograph he identified immediately. He said that he was the man. He was the man who had hijacked his vehicle in Padmanabha case because he was going somewhere in his vehicle along with his mother. After Padmanabha case, his vehicle was hijacked and they were dropped somewhere. You understand that? And the people who hijacked the vehicle and controlled his vehicle, they happened to be the killers of Padmanabha, and the main person behind it was Shivrasan, the one-eyed Jack, who was the common person in both the cases. I hope I am clear.
Okay.
That is how this case opened up.
Okay.
That Shivrasan was the main person and his name was Raghuvaran. Meanwhile, Mr. Vijayakaran and others, they went to Colombo and there they found that there is a character called Raghuvaran who was a very active, hardcore LTT cadre. He had one-eyed
Jack.
One-eyed Jack, we called him. So the case got opened up from that point of view.
How long did it take? Hardly
a week. See what happened that when Sri Lankan crisis was at its peak and the president Jayawardene and Rajiv Gandhi, they were having discussions while Rajiv Gandhi was Prime Minister. And Jayawardene was a real crook, I am sorry to say. He was a very strong person. He was a very strong and very clever person. He almost got Rajiv Gandhi into the entire crisis. And IPKF was sent there. And IPKF, because of IPKF, ultimately everything happened. So basically...
Have you met Prabhakaran? Have you seen him?
No, I didn't.
He used to come and stay in Ashoka Hotel.
Ashoka, that is the Prabhakaran's motive. When we try to find the motive, Prabhakaran says, he said it, why he killed Rajiv Gandhi, and his explanation was that when he was brought to Ashoka Hotel, and in Ashoka Hotel he was kept like a captive, and he was brought like someone very, very important for negotiations, but he was not allowed to independently negotiate. And then he went back to Sri Lanka, went back to his home Jaffna, an extremely disillusioned and unhappy person. full of complaint against Rajiv Gandhi, and he said that Rajiv Gandhi did not treat him the way he should have treated him, and that became the motive for this crime. I hope I am clear.
Yeah. Oh my God. Acha, tell me one thing, that after Indira Gandhi's murder, the riots happened. Of course, it wasn't just the murder, that assassination, that the riots happened. But after Rajiv Gandhi's assassination, there was no law and order situation in Delhi. Why do you think that happened? That Delhi came under control immediately. Do you give credit to policing at that time, or the political establishment of that period, that immediately they made sure that security forces had moved?
See, by that time, Delhi police was far more equipped, because as I mentioned to you that in 1984 Delhi police was in a bad shape. We did not have these PCR vans, we didn't have that kind of manpower, we didn't have that kind of equipment, and by 1991 things had changed first. Secondly, when Rajiv Gandhi was assassinated, actually it was not known who did it.
Who did it?
And let's say when LTT also came in picture, they had nothing to do with Delhi.
Yeah.
It was a difficult thing to handle. It could be a difficult thing to handle in Tamil Nadu. And let me inform you that it was a highly sensitive investigation. All of us were given a lot of protection, because LTT cadres and sympathizers were huge in number. In fact, prior to Rajiv Gandhi's assassination, when Padmanabha was killed, because of the sympathy for the LTT and because of that strong kind of emotional bond that was created, wrong or right reasons, Padmanabha was killed and nothing much happened. The case was also not investigated properly. The point I am trying to make, that and all that changed. Don't forget that Rajiv Gandhi's assassination became the undoing of Prabhakaran.
Yeah.
The LTT could have bargained much better. Perhaps Sri Lanka's history could have been different had Rajiv Gandhi not been killed.
Yeah.
Rajiv Gandhi assassination by LTT brought a lot of geopolitical consequences.
That's true. That's true. As we conclude, I have a number of questions to ask you, but we've done almost 2 hours, I think, out here. But I have to talk to you about Prayas and how you started it, and how it moved parallelly with your policing life and this life. Talk to me about that before we conclude today.
No, for me, it's my life, and for me, it's as important as my police career. More than that, in fact, if you look at that, because I worked in police for 34 years, and Prayas and my other work is now 37 years. And let me inform you, people will not believe, but the fact is that for nearly 20 years, exactly 20 years, Prayas was in growth. My work in the social sector was as important as police, became as important as police. And then Prayas became the organization, whatever it is. Just very briefly, see, in 1980s, when I was at the peak of my career and all these things were happening, we discussed just now. One of the small things was that about 40-50 children across the city, they were picked up by the police or by the voluntary organizations, and these are homeless children, working children, child labor, etc., etc. And these children, we had no plans or any kind of arrangement to keep them and look after them. That is one. Secondly, we did not have any plan for the young offenders and juveniles. That was also a point. It coincided, and there was a big fire in Jahangirpuri
slum area
and the settlement colony, and Air Marshal H.L. Kapoor was Lieutenant Governor. One morning he tells me on a holiday morning that, Amod, you have to come to Jahangirpuri. I said, boss, aap dairy ko le jao. Dairy was chief fire officer, very popular chief fire officer. But he insisted I should go, and that was a fortuitous thing he did. I went there and found nearly 1,000 houses of rag pickers gutted, a lot of children being on the street. So I was thinking and generally talking to these children. And then Mr. Kapoor, Air Marshal Kapoor, Lieutenant Governor, offered to me. He told me कि ठीक है भाई आमोद को कोई जगह दे दो, ये कुछ काम करना चाहता है. So I started Prayas, 1988. And let me inform you that this organization today it operates in 13 states of India. It has 319 centers. We have got 768 full-time workers. We are one of the better known organizations in the country. It has worked for the children, for the youth, for the women in a big way. We must have created hundreds of homes and shelters for children and homeless people. We must have created maybe 1,000 people who came and worked in the organization. We are one of the leading organizations concerning skill development and livelihood for the marginalized kind of people. So Prayas is a long journey which has been happening for the past 37 years now.
Okay.
And it has gone parallel. The only point I would like to say that India deserves organizations, voluntary organizations which are in the social sector. When you talk about, let's say, marginalized and underprivileged children, youth, women, disabled, when you talk about health, education, poverty, elevation, environment, it is only the voluntary organizations which provide life to it. Voluntary organizations, there are 32 lakh of them today in India. Not many organizations like ours, but then they have a very important role to play because this country on the one hand is fifth largest economy, soon becoming third largest economy, but it also happens to be nearly 135th, 132nd in human development indicators, in sustainable development goals. These are the weaker areas of India's growth story or developmental stories. And their voluntary organizations getting into these kind of people, these kind of deserving segments of population is very important. This country still has more than 35 million children who are not being looked after properly. Huge number of women and youth who have to be looked after better. So Prayas is in that direction. I feel very satisfied,
More strength
very
to
happy.
you. And we need many more such organizations and many people who give their time and money to organizations like this which help children get out. And if you're saying 35 million children are in need of such support, hoping that happens. Before I conclude, so that one thing about your brush with politics, you joined.
It was a terrible mistake because see, I won't call it a mistake because see, Indian politics is all about elections. And election के बारे में मैं कहता हूँ कि ये आग का दरिया है, डूब के जाना है. Unless somebody goes through it, you never understand what it is. I never joined any political party. I am totally neutral. I remain neutral entirely from that point of view. So I think social work, the kind of work I have been doing is far more important than politics. Because, I mean, Prayas itself, let me inform you, and allied organizations, 45,000 people come every day in our centers. Is it less than any other public work that
Yes,
you do?
of course.
So it's
Yes.
far more important, I am sure. And,
Totally.
I'm happy about it.
Totally. So with that, I think I'll conclude. For viewers and listeners, do pick up these two books. And they're quick reads. They're very interesting, told in first person, and gives you a view, even if you're not from Delhi, you have lived in these times from 1980 to current. And as Sir said, he's going to be writing another book about his social work that he's doing. But do read these two books. Very interesting. Thank you so much, sir. We will have another conversation, hopefully, where we'll discuss the other stories which are there in these two books. Thank you so much for spending
And
the
thanks
time.
to you also because I think this interview with you appears to be going back in past and
Yeah,
a
isn't
lot
it?
of things together.
So many things that
Though you are much younger to me.
we have lived our lives running parallelly, but so much happened in our lives which as I said, it was difficult to read. There are some things which bring you face to face with these incidents which happen. You don't want to relive that, but it's important to relive it so that we don't make those mistakes again.
I know. You and then perhaps one
And to
job.
value what we have today.
I agree.
Things which, like somebody turns around and saying कि हाँ खालिस्तान तो वहाँ पे है, क्या फर्क पड़ता है? No, those of us who have seen the tragedy of those times, we never want those times to be repeated again. People who've lived through that in Punjab don't want that ever again, or Tamil Nadu for the LTT, I would say, or any other part. So sometimes it's necessary to revisit the past. Even अगर वो खुरेदने से दर्द होता है, वो ज़रूरी होता है कभी-कभी. I'm sure you wake up at times.
You don't realize, see what happens, that in the process you don't realize that by small events you are heading towards a point where madness and frenzy take charge of a situation. It happens. It happened in many situations.
In many situations.
That's correct.
Thank you for your service, sir, and thank you for spending time with us.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you for watching or listening to this edition of the ANI podcast with Smita Prakash. Do like or subscribe on whichever channel you have seen this or heard this. Namaste. Jai Hind. This episode is powered by easemytrip.com. Click here to watch the previous episodes.